Hello, everybody. Welcome. We'll allow everybody to a couple minutes to join on because we are sharp at 10 o'clock. And I just want to give everybody a quick moment to come on because we know this is the real estate industry. We've got so many things that we're doing, trying to get off the phone. We've got appointments we're setting. We're all over the MLS and getting our day all prepared. And then we remember we have a meeting. Our 1 millionth Zoom meeting. I think we are suffering from Zoom fatigue at this point. So I'll give it another minute. Looks like we have a lot of people joining us, which is fantastic. And happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy Wednesday. I refer to this as Groundhog Day. This since it's been 6 months. And I watched the movie, and it very, very much feels like Groundhog Day, where you get to learn each day. You go, well, I'll do this day differently, but it's very much the same. So that's with Bill Murray. Fantastic movie. I kept on talking about how it reminds me of Groundhog Day. Then I watched it a couple weeks ago, and sure enough, this definitely it's going by really fast each day, and we're already here into almost October. We will be done with 3/4 of the year. Hard to believe because we went into COVID-19 lockdown back in March. That was during the first quarter. We're going into the fourth quarter in just a week. That is hard to believe. Happy fall, everybody. So we'll go ahead and begin. Those stragglers can join in as they are able to come online. I understand. There's a lot going on in life. Yes. So let's go ahead and begin. Oops, on the wrong page. There we go. There we are. So we're going to guess what? I got to change my photo because now we have fun photos, but they're all fun photos. I'm sharing with you a few wonderful pictures. The first one is YEARQUIL, brought to you by NyQuil. You can hibernate and in 2020 fast, sleep through the entire year. I think this is great. How about this one? We need Will Smith to come do this. When this is all over, can someone flashy thing me? Please. Making me forget it all. This is great, and I want to meet this neighbor. I don't know which is deadlier, coronavirus or my wife's honeydew list. Let me go back to work. I'm not sure what the F is for on the right-hand side of the windows. Contactless delivery. This is the special instructions on Domino's. Leave the pie in the middle of the street. Honk 3 times. Wait 2 seconds. Honk once more. Roll down windows. Do bird sound. Caw-caw. Drive on. Can't even do that with a straight face. That's fantastic. And this literally, I talked to my wife about it. This is how our parents used to text us back in the day. We'd walk into the house and there would be this envelope that would say, written on the back, grab anything with any kind of paper. This house better be spotless before I get home from work. If it's not, everybody's getting a whooping. Yeah. It's never explicitly explained how the Brady Bunch had access to Zoom in the 1970s. Pretty cool, huh? Or this mask. If you want people to stare at you, get one of these masks. These are great. I need to get some funny masks just because, so I can remember 2020 and 2021 years of the masks. Best realtor line of the day. Can you see yourself being quarantined in this house? That's good. This is not a mask I need. Staff meeting this morning. Wow, that's a great mask. Potential buyer. Hi, I'm looking to buy a house. How's the market? Me. Remember back in May when you were looking for toilet paper? Yeah, just like that. It literally is. This is a great analogy. I think this is great. So if you did not know, just to legitimize what I bring to the table, quantitative economics and decision sciences. That's my major from the University of California, San Diego, 29 years in the business, Orange County native, Capitol Valley High School grad. That's Southern Orange County. Haven't really gone that far from home. 9 kids, avid runner. I'm a Brady Bunch family. I brought 6 on the right. My wife brought the 2 on the left, and then we had bonus guy. I was busily getting everything ready for this meeting, and then I was like cramming at the end because he refused to go potty. We potty trained him during COVID-19 lockdown. My background, I've also been all over the press, and our company is Reports on Housing. It's your local real estate snapshot. I don't really spend that much time because people said, what is it? How is it kind of like Altos Research? And not at all. I'm not like, there's not like a gazillion charts and then it's up to you to interpret them all. Instead, and I don't like closed sales data either, and that's what you get a lot of, especially right now. They're talking about August closed sales, and August is a reflection of June and July. So that's like operating your vehicle in the rear view mirror and looking in the past, trying to drive forward is very difficult to do. Instead, I want to look out the windshield, active listing inventory, that's the supply and demand, the last 30 days worth of pending sales. So I look at all the pending sale velocity recently, last 30 days, and that gives me the speed of the market. So inventory gives me how much is on the market, and then we got the speed of the market. So with that, you mix that together, and then we come up with the expected market time. From those 2 stats, we get your if your home came on the market today, when would it go into escrow? So based upon the speed is how quickly you're going to eat up the inventory, and that's the expected market time. So it's all about setting expectations of buyers and sellers, clients, friends, family, anybody that's talking about real estate, and ourselves. And agents have used it for a number of different things. Price reductions, this latest one got them to list their home at an accurate price, and that's what it's about. I'm all for fetching the best expectations of the market for sellers when they enter it, and for buyers, they understand what they're getting themselves into prior to even meeting you at a property. So I have reports that dot all over Southern California, LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and San Diego. And Orange County has been around since 2004, and the other markets I've tracked just the counties, countywide, since 2012. And then starting a little over a year ago, about a year and a half ago, I started looking at every single city, every single area. And now we have every 2 weeks all that data for all the different price ranges and everything else. So we have a lot of year-over-year data. And then coming up in 2021, which is right around the corner, we will have year-over-year. So we'll have year-over-two. I don't even know how to say that. It's comparing now to 2 years ago. Glad there's no audience totally laugh at me. I'll just laugh at myself. So since the last report, there have been that I did this for the Southern California for Orange County Realtors and all the other Southern California boards. I've had 3 different reports that have come out. The first one is a dive into housing strengths. So I was trying to pick apart exactly why we're having this kind of velocity. And then the second report was called An Astonishing Spike. This came out about 2 weeks ago yesterday. And this is talking about this spike that we realized in luxury closed sales. Now, I said I don't follow closed sales that closely, but when there's an anomaly like it is outstanding and record level and is far outpacing any other time period, I'm going to bring that closed sales data up. And so that's what this is about, astonishing spike in luxury sales. And then the most recent one that came out yesterday and this is for Orange County, San Diego, and Los Angeles. San Bernardino, Riverside, they get theirs next week. I alternate weeks. It's the dangers of overpricing. And this goes into, if you reduce the price, what are the chances are that you're going to get less? It's pretty substantial that if you're reducing the price, that you've missed the opportunity of that initial few weeks, or actually now it's almost down to 2 weeks, initial 2 weeks of all that activity. And that's what the most recent one is that came out yesterday. So if you actually subscribe to the report right now, you get yesterday's report for those in Orange County, Los Angeles, and San Diego. Actually, San Diego's went out last night. So Theirs literally just came out. So reportsonhousing.com, that's REPORTS on housing.com. If you're not a subscriber, you can go there to subscribe today. And there I will send you the most recent report. And at the bottom of every report are a bunch of links. Links for printing it out, for copy, cut, edit, paste, lots of Excel spreadsheets. There's an excerpt for publicly facing websites. There's even, we have a summary of each Orange County summary, LA summary, San Diego summary, Riverside summary, you know, all these different summaries. That too can be placed on blogs, websites, all that good stuff. And this comes out, like I said, it's every 2 weeks. I crunch the numbers on Thursdays, and it's just what makes the most sense for the numbers. If I did it on the 1st and the 15th, it would not make sense. So because some of those days would fall on the weekend, and the numbers only look really, really spectacular as far as taking an accurate gauge of where we're at and comparing it year over year and week over week, month over month, and all that stuff, is to take it on Thursdays. So it's every 2 weeks, and it's $15 per month or $150 per year. You get a month free if you sign up using the coupon code CHARTS, as in what I love, CHARTS. I do have a housing debrief. They're only on Fridays now. It's every Friday. I think I'm on episode number 44 this Friday. It will be a happy hour Q&A after the debrief. So that starts around 3:30, 3:40. We get into a Q&A session, and I sit back a cold one. So now let's get into COVID-19. People ask me why I still follow COVID-19, because what happens with COVID-19 happens with the economy, and I don't want to see this thing go up and down, up and down. We just want to see it recover. And so the world, and this is where we are, when I did this report last, which was back a little over a month ago in August, it was at 22,190,000. We were at 31,700,000. So you could see it went up a substantial amount. We were at an average of 213,400 cases per day for the 7-day moving average. Today, we're at 280,000. So we're adding we're getting to the point where we're going to be adding 1/3 of a million cases per day. So it takes 3 days to get to 1 million. That is a pretty rapid pace. Coronavirus, we talked about this before, but it's really happening. The only place where they're not really seeing that much of a effect is Germany. It went up slightly, and Italy, but coronavirus has definitely returned to Europe. If you look at Spain, Spain is worse off than when they had their first initial outbreak. And France is really off, and now UK has turned a corner. And I'll show you what the UK looks like. This is the UK. They have a population of 66 million. And so that's, you'd have to, they're about 1/5 of the United States. So they're at 4,422 cases. You have to multiply this by 5 to understand that's at 20,000 cases per day. That's still well below where we are presently. So even at their height, and their height that they're at right now, they're having to add a whole bunch of new restrictions. But they're not even quite at the level that we are currently at right now. And that's from coming down from where we were before. So you can see Europe is going the wrong direction, but it's not quite in some areas as bad as it has been in the United States. This is the United States. You can see there we were at just under 5.5 million cases before. Now we're at 5.5 million cases. And we were at 48,744 on average for the last 7 days, and now we're at 43,000. But you can see since we last spoke here at this meeting on Wednesday mornings, it actually went down, and now it's turned around. A lot of that turnaround has to do with college campuses. So we were headed in the right direction, and then college opened up, and it is not a good scene at colleges. Those 18 to 24-year-olds is that worst bracket where they don't really care about COVID. They've even interviewed people where the guy says, I have COVID, and there's a whole bunch of his buddies, like 20 of his buddies that he's hanging out with at the porch. Watch this on something on YouTube. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that they're even doing that. So these are the United States. You can see how we would have crossed that blue line, and Europe would have been worse off than where we were, but we turned around because school started. So now we're kind of running parallel to what's going on in Europe. And as far as the states where it's being hit the hardest, look at the middle of the country. A lot of the rural states are getting hit pretty hard. And that North Dakota and South Dakota and Montana and Wyoming, all states where you go, I can't believe that they're up 50% in the last week. So you can see that's 8 states that are like that, and it's all those rural states. As far as California is concerned, we're steady. And I just have to say one thing though, the American public, we are so tired about talking about COVID-19 and everything that's going on, all the news and all the politics. It's like a 1, 2, 3 punch, and we are just fatigued. It's just way too much. There's too much negative news that's out there where we almost have to give ourselves a little break from viewing it, because it's just not worth it following it to that degree. However, we need to be mindful of this invisible virus. COVID-19 second wave is absolutely for real. Every time everybody thinks, it's no big deal. The reason why Europe is going crazy is because they're going, we're doing better. Let's open up our borders for tourism, because tourism is a big part of their economies. And now you see what happens when you do that. So when we're not mindful, it goes the wrong direction. And this is from the University of Washington. I brought this up before. I'm just bringing a couple slides. This is the hospital resource use. This is where they think hospital resources use are most likely going to go. And you could see that there's going to be a spike again, and they believe it is going to come in December, right in the middle of the holidays. And that's when everybody's inside, there's more parties and festivities, and we're after Thanksgiving, and a lot of people are going to get together for Thanksgiving, and it's going to be right during the flu season. So they're seeing it as another spike is coming, and hospitalizations will be up quite a bit. All those kids are going to be coming back from college. That is a big concern, that they come home for Thanksgiving, which you think that's not that's far off from now. That's 60 days from now, and as we know, the year just keeps on going by. These are COVID-19 deaths. The estimate for January 1st is 378,000 cases, deaths by the time we get to January 1st. We just eclipsed 200,000 now. So you can see we're at a pretty big pace as far as death count is concerned and what they're projecting. And a lot of the deaths are going to be coming in December, as you can see. Probably we're following that brown line, not the red line. That's the projection. And this is COVID-19 tests. I bring this up because this was a month ago. We were at 6.3 positive tests. And I said we need to be below 5% back then. Still saying it now. If you look, we were getting there, and then the kids went back to school, and now we're at 6.8% positivity rate, and it's kind of going the wrong direction again. We need to be well below 5%. And if you see this, these are tests. Tests back from March, it was going up, the number of tests we were taking on a daily basis, but you kind of see the curve. We kind of hit a top, and now we're kind of coming down. So, and it's a slight down, but still, we need to be over 1 million tests per day in order to adequately track this thing and get our hands around it better through tracing and stuff like that. So we're not doing enough testing. They've said this before, and that's because we're so tired of hearing it that a lot of people just simply aren't getting tested unless they absolutely need to, which is why the positivity rate will continue to trend upward. Unlike other areas that, if you go to Germany, their positive rate is well below 5%. So California, you can see we were coming down, and then all of a sudden we plateaued. I think that plateau has a lot to do with kids going back to school. I know that that in San Diego State University, it's not good. And now UCSD is going into session down in San Diego, and they say that they really got this thing down. Well, San Diego State thought that they had it down too, but although their kids like to party more at SDSU, it's still very, very hard to get into that college. So I'm going to say that most 18 to 24-year-olds are going to gather regardless of which school they go to. California, we were at 640,000 cases. We're at 793,000 cases now, and we were averaging 8,456 cases for the 7 days, and we were on the way down. Now we're at 3,550, but holding steady. This is very, very interesting. So this is this new tiered thing that California came up with a few weeks ago. And when they first came up with it, I think it was like 4 weeks ago. When they first came up with it, it was like it's a big about face because we were about to open up a little bit further, and there was like this head fake, and now there was all these new parameters, and they were tracking a lot of different things. They were no longer looking at hospitalizations; they're just looking at two metrics. The two metrics are the positivity rate and the number of COVID cases per 100,000 people on a daily basis. This number has been coming way down. This was what it was. This is Tuesday. So this was not this Tuesday, not yesterday, but a week ago. We were at 7.7 and 4.2%. And now we're at 6.4% and 3.6%. So you see, we shed from 7.7 down to 6.4. So the positivity rate is coming down, and number of new case rates also coming down pretty substantially. But you're still wondering, what in the world does all this mean? You have widespread, you have substantial, moderate, minimal, and there's certain metrics, and you're going, well, how do I follow all this? I made it nice and easy, nice color chart. This is where everybody is right now. This is as of yesterday. And if you look at this, Riverside actually got upgraded. So I'll get into that in a second. LA County is in that purple tier. However, their new case rate, because they actually do more testing, they were at 7.1, but they do so much testing that they were able to come down in new case rate when they adjusted it, and it's at 7, and that allowed them to get into red. And they're all in positivity tests. They're the lowest because they do so many tests. They're at 2.8%. This is the kind of testing you need. LA does it like nobody else's business because they make it easy for everybody to get it for free. So if you look at this, they now have 1 week now where they're at least, they go with the highest color. So the color that's the worst, which is red. So, and you can only move one tier per Tuesday. So they track it every Tuesday. Once you move into a tier, you have to be in for 3 weeks before you move down again. And and then if you were purple, and in 1 week you became red, that's only 1 week. So LA has been in this purple tier for a while, but now they have to have a minimum of 3 weeks if they're in it, and then they have to have 2 weeks in a row of the right colors combination. So right now they're in red. They have 1 more week. They go into red as well next Tuesday. Orange County, actually, they got better as far as new case rate, and now they're in orange. So orange means that we can, in Orange County, can move to the next tier next Tuesday if it continues to be orange, which I think it will be because we don't have as many big, giant party schools. Although UCI is going back into business soon, but at a very small percentage of people that are coming on campus compared to what they normally have. We'll have to see. Riverside County, that was Orange County. Riverside County, they were upgraded. They were in red for 2 weeks. Now they're in red. Look at this, San Bernardino County. They had their first week where they hit red. And that's going to allow them to go into red next week if they continue this pace. San Diego County was a big whew. The reason is for 1 week, they went into purple status. Now, if they would have done purple status again for new case rate, which they were very, very close. If they would have gone into 1 more week, they would have actually dropped. They would have had to go up to the purple widespread tier. Widespread is restaurants, only outside dining, retail, 25% capacity, shopping centers, 25%, hair salons, barbers, indoors, 25%. Now red is now indoors, 25% capacity. So those in Riverside can now go indoors, and San Bernardino maybe next week, maybe LA as well. Movie theaters, 25% capacity, they open up. Churches open up 25% capacity, up to 100 people. And I should say that really in restaurants, it's up to 100 people. Movie theaters, up to 100 people. I just didn't have room on the slide, so it's all 100 people. And then gyms and yoga, 10% capacity. And then you have museums, 25% capacity, and retail, 50% capacity. Now, orange is where Orange County is headed. And what that will be is restaurants in 50% capacity. Did I say that before? No, it's 25. So 50% capacity, movie theaters at 50%, churches at 50% capacity. Now you're up to 200 people. And that's what it is for restaurants and movie theaters as well, 200 people. Gyms and yoga, 25%, museums, 50%, retail, 100%. They just have to close down common areas. If you're a mall and you have a food court, it reverts to 50% capacity in that area. Bars, outside only when there's no food. Also breweries, those are coming back if they don't have food. And then bowling alleys, 25%. Good to know. Offices, they can open, but they still want to encourage teleworking. And they're going to be encouraging that even in the next tier, which is yellow. I'm not even going to get into that because we're not even close to that yet. So macroeconomic outlook, BC and AD. Let's get into this. As far as BC is before coronavirus, everything looks spectacular. AD is after the disease. This is compliments of Logan Mohtashami, Mohtashami, Mohtashami. I follow him on Facebook. He is a smart man. I like to hang around very, very smart people. He is one of those people I just hang around. So he talked about AD and then down the road, AB, which is America's back. But after the disease, we had everything looked bad, but everything started to look a lot better. And we'll get into that in a second. But as far as how hard will GDP be hit in 2020, if you look at United States, for the year, we'll be down 3.8%. That doesn't sound as significant as Italy, down 10, India, down 10, Mexico, down 10, UK, down 10, France. You can see this is because a lot of these countries really, really, really are propped up with tourism. And so you can see that they're getting hit pretty darn hard. Initial claims for unemployment insurance, this was last week, was at $860,000. $860,000, I did that last week too. $860,000, it's kind of like leveling off. 860,000 new initial claims. You have to understand that's high. That's very, very high. That's so high that is probably as it does exceed all of the Great Recession's initial weeks. But I want you to understand we've still been adding a lot of jobs at the same time have been coming online. So people are going off and people are coming on and all that stuff. And a lot of that has to do with this movement across the United States where they're having lockdowns in some areas where they haven't locked down before, or in other areas that are opening up that have been locked down. Unemployment comparison. So as far as having an unemployment rate greater than 9%, the unemployment rate for the United States traveled below 9%. It's in the 8s now. So as far as greater 9% or greater, you can see 2020 only lasted 4 months. The Great Depression, 108 months. Great Recession, 30 months. 1980s oil recession, if you remember that was awful. 19 months. 2020 recession, only 4 months. So let's put this into context. This is a forced stoppage, and things are coming back online as best as they possibly can. There's still many, many industries that are affected and many, many unemployed, but it's not as bad as these other times because at first people were saying this is going to be worse than the Great Depression. Didn't pan out that way, and it's not going to. Purchase application index is up 25% year over year. The 2 times prior, there was one that was 40% 2 weeks ago, then it was 8%, and now it's back at 25%. The reason why it's 40 and then 8 is because it depends. Labor Day fell on when you were looking at different weeks. In the first week of September versus this year, it fell on that second week of September. Yes, and then so it's 25% year over year up, 18 weeks of year over year gains, and that's up sharp. And existing home sales, this is the seasonal, it's a seasonal average that they put together at, it's a seasonal annual average, I'm sorry, is up 11% year over year. And you can see we went down, but we came back up very, very V-shaped and came up to an area 6 million. The last time we saw that was prior to the Great Recession. You can see that if you draw a line across, that was in 2006. So it's up 11% year over year. 6 million is the SAAR. That's the seasonal annual adjusted. I don't know why my brain's not working right now. Need another cup of coffee. Let me take a swig. Great. So let's get into this. This is forbearance. Forbearance has come from 7.16% down to 7%. And it's at 3.5 million right now. And you're saying that's a lot of people. However, that are in forbearance. That's a lot of people, yes. And it was at 4.3 million in June. So you can see we're actually moving in the right direction. And these are all the articles of doom and gloom. And there's what we call perma bears that are doing YouTube things about all the foreclosures and everything's going to go to hell in a handbasket. We have that all the time. You just don't see it as much, and we're more aware of it right now because there's so much uncertainty, and we hear about forbearance being high, and we hear about the serious delinquencies, and everybody's reporting on it because they don't really know how it's all going to play out. I have a very good idea how it's going to all play out because 90% of everybody in forbearance has at least 10% equity, which means if they had to move, they would be able to dip into their equity in order to move. So get that. I'll say it really slowly. 90% of everybody in forbearance has at least 10% equity, meaning if they had to sell, it would not be a distressed sale. They would be able to tap into their equity and be made whole. So that could happen down the road. And the people that are most susceptible, because a lot of people did forbearance just because they could, and they held off on those payments, they're going to renegotiate it, put it on the end, or would have to make payment plans. They can come up with something. But we just need to get in the habit of asking if people are in forbearance and what they did with it. Because if they put it on the end of the loan, which a lot of people will, that's where they will just, I'll stick it on the end. And when they do that, they are stalling the payment. They still have to pay that back. So even if they had an outstanding loan of $500,000, yet they had $20,000 that they didn't pay while they're in forbearance, you just get stuck on the end. When they go to sell, on the net sheet will be $500,000 and the $20,000. So $520,000 total would have to be paid off. That's why we got to ask them if they're in forbearance, because they're going to go, well, I thought that I didn't have to pay that back. We're going to get people that are really going to think that they don't have to pay that back when they negotiate where it goes. It just is going to be deferred to the end. Retail sales have taken off, and they're actually continuing the same curve that where we were prior to this pandemic that we started back in March. You can see it's continuing to go at a very, very elevated rate, and there are still areas of retail that are really, really hurting. But overall retail, the whole mix is up and positive year over year. And if you were wondering about the United States, yeah, you know what? When are they going to pass more pandemic relief? We're not even calling stimulus. It's just pandemic relief to get us to the other side of this thing, at least 2021, when we're supposed to have a vaccine. So when are they going to pass more pandemic relief? And because my concerns are what it does to rents. Although this is national average, it didn't look good at first reading in September. It kind of looked like July, which wasn't that hot. But if you look at this, 90.1%, and you get this all the time. Everybody says, look at the number of people that didn't pay at the beginning of the month. And they do that because this rent tracker actually tracks everybody after they pay through the 6th. And on the 7th, they start reporting how many people paid through the 6th. And so it gets all those news articles. They say things like 30 million people haven't paid their rent. Yeah, well, here's really what it comes out to be by the time you get towards the end of the month, which we're at the 20th, at 90% have paid their rent. And by the time you get this thing all the way to the end of the month, which is the 4th payment tracker piece, it gets up there to about 95, 96%. So we're made pretty whole. And I'm actually pretty surprised at how resilient the public is, because we've done a lot of savings over the months and people are actually tapping into it. My problem is we've stopped people from evicting, and there's people that are just not good out there and they're just not paying rent and they're taking advantage of this. And who is this messing with? It's messing with landlords. And as far as evictions are concerned, they can't evict them because the CDC came up with a national policy. If they're affected by COVID, they can't be evicted. And then the California came up with something that is all the way through January 31st. So who gets it in the end is the landlords. These landlords are, if they've got a bad seed, they're going to have to hold on to this thing, and unless they're damaging the property or something like that, then you can actually evict. So you have to get with an attorney. They can help with any loopholes and getting them out of a property if in fact they're trying to take advantage of the situation and they're doing harm to the property. So landlords are being affected, and you're wondering, when are they going to come up with this pandemic relief? And it's going to come after you voted. And I'm not talking after the vote is complete, and not complete, but at least starting to count, which is not until the start of November. So after November, after the election, we're actually going to have them talk about pandemic relief, because right now it's a political hot potato. I don't see it happen. I hope that they surprised me, but kind of like shaking my head at this point, because it should have been done a long time ago, because a lot of people's pandemic relief, that additional $300 that they pulled from another area of the economy, that was the executive order signed by Trump. It's running out in most states, and California's will run out as well, because they only have 5 weeks from that executive order. The Southern California market is behaving like a spring market, and it's been extremely resilient. I've talked about it being hot, and I have every single kind of analogy to talk about how hot the market really is. And if you look at this, we're headed into that autumn market. It is officially autumn as of Tuesday. We need to embrace it, put the decorations up. My wife actually put up the decorations 3 weeks ago, because we were ready to transition to another season. It was just getting boring talking about summer, so we moved on. And in the middle of the heat wave, we got our house dialed in to the autumn season. We are very festive in this house. Can't wait for the holidays. Demand will drop during autumn, and so will the supply. And people are going, how come that happens? Well, kids are all online, which kind of makes it a little easier to move in the midst of a pandemic, because they're all online and it's not as disruptive. But slowly but surely, as these counties get into the different tiers, the red and the orange tiers, it's opened up the schools. My daughter goes to Santa Margarita High School, and she started school yesterday. Actually, I had Monday off so they can get all prepared, and it was they opened up as far as yesterday, so she's back in school in a hybrid plan, but still they're in school, and there's a lot of driving around that you have to do. I soon in October will have all my kids going to high school, and she has cross country practice, so we're driving all the way until 5 o'clock, and then I have one in intermediate school. I guess they call that middle school. We used to call it junior high school. That's not apropos anymore. And then we have 2 in elementary. And so we're driving all over the place. In an elementary, we have 1 in the AM, 1 in the PM. And it's just, we're going to be doing so much driving that we could not possibly buy a house during this time period. And I think that's why we're going to start to see demand come down. So that's what happens. In which areas do we see autumn taking hold? In Orange County, in Riverside, and in San Diego. Now there's another season, because we're moving out of spring, and we went from spring to autumn. Although demand is still elevated in these areas, it's still coming down while supply is coming down, and that's very autumnish. We have another season called summer. So since we lost spring and we moved it to the summer season, so summer behaved like spring, where demand was continuing to go up, and we did not even peak until a few weeks ago. So that's spring. And then inventory was dropping like crazy. Summer is where you get this thing where demand drops a little bit. It happens every single summer. We get the distractions of summer vacations and school graduations and having the kids in tow and all that stuff. So demand drops, but there's still people that are encouraged by the market. This is still a good time to sell, and supply actually rises. So during the summer season, we actually get a drop in demand, and we have supply that rises. This is the normal course of action for our markets. And this is the season that we're transitioning from spring to summer, the way that it feels in Los Angeles County and San Bernardino. Those two are behaving a little bit different. LA, they added so many homes that they made up for all the losses in all the other markets, so that it made it so that Southern California didn't really come down much at all. We'll see it right now. So there's Southern California housing supply. If you look at this, Southern California active listing inventory is right here, and you can see it's still at a very, very low level. It's at an extremely low level, and the only time before was in 2013 was it any lower than where we're at right now, and it's not even that much different than where we are today. COVID-19 is absolutely not suppressing the supply. It was, and it even did it for a minute in San Diego, but that stopped. It was like this weird anomaly. It used to impact all of Southern California. We have a big hole of the number of homes, and it's in the thousands, tens of thousands for all of Southern California that never came on the market, that has not come on the market at all. And that's because COVID-19 suppressed the number of homeowners coming on the market for a long period of time, a lot longer than when demand came back, and we didn't really see the numbers start to turn around until slightly in July, and then in August we saw a more significant shift. The COVID-19 is still suppressing supply in San Bernardino for whatever reason. I don't understand it. We need to get the word out. The market's hot. They just don't understand that. So they never came back on. They were afraid to put their homes in the market. As far as Southern California active listing inventory is concerned, you can see that here it is right here. We actually went up. So not even down, we went up. And this is all because of Los Angeles, because they added over 200 homes in the 2-week period. And they were up more like 2.5%. So last Thursday, we were at 25,657. That was up 1% in 2 weeks. And last year we were at 42,185. That was 64% more than where we are today. Way more than where we are today. You can see how much further we're down now compared to all other years. So we still have nothing in the tank as far as the inventory is concerned. And people go, it's a supply problem. It isn't. We place the same number of homes on the market. We're actually placing them in Orange County and Los Angeles at this ridiculous pace. In the last 4-week period, Orange County has put on 20% more homes in the last 4 weeks than they did the prior year in 2019. And in Los Angeles, they put on 10% more homes than last year. And that's just happening in Orange County, LA. We're going to see if it spreads to other counties, something we're kind of tracking, but it's an anomaly that is, wow, something worth noting. And so as far as the inventory is concerned, the inventory should, for the rest of the year, kind of flatten out. And then once we get to Thanksgiving, that's when a lot of people that have been on the market, there's a lot of people that have been in the market for 60 days plus. That's where they decide to throw in the towel and they say, I'll wait till next spring. And they pull their homes off the market. We get a lot of people pulling their homes off the market. The cancellation, withdrawal, and expiration rate goes up substantially during the fourth quarter, specifically in November and December. And then the inventory drops even further. So because of that, we may rise a little bit, but when we really drop and people start pulling their homes off the market at the end of the year, we will reach the all-time records for when I have been tracking how low it can go. It will be the lowest since 2004, and that happened in March 2013. 24,161. We will drill below that. We're not even that far off. If you go backwards a little bit, we were at 25,657. So we only have to shed, a little over 1,400 homes. We'll get there because it just requires a few hundred per county. Southern California housing demand, COVID-19, absolutely not suppressing demand at all. It is every form of hot. And why is it so hot? And if you look at it, this is where we're at. It is hot. Do you see how hot? We're above 20,000 as far as demand is concerned. And that is unbelievable. Last Thursday, we were at 20,636. Pending sales actually dropped 3% in 2 weeks. That's called fall. That's what you're feeling out there. And last year, we were at 15,403. It too dropped during the same time period. That's that purple line. It just wasn't at the same velocity, but it did in 2017. That's the red line. You can see how significant. We're kind of running parallel with 2017. That's just completely normal. And then as far as demand is concerned, you can see where we're at. Yeah, we kind of peaked and now we're coming down. However, it's still at a really, really high level, the highest level since 2012. In 2012, we had a lot of short sales, a flood of short sales that were easier to sell because their values were coming down. And that was when the market was starting to heat up in 2012 and people wanted to get a deal. So everybody was clamoring to buy a short sale. And a lot of those fell out and they had to wait on banks to reprove them, and they fell out and went back in, fell out and went back in, and it artificially raised the demand rate back then. Normal peak happens in April, and our peak occurred this year at the end of August. And now we're starting to come down. You can see demand has fallen. And where we will go for the rest of the year? Down, slowly but surely. And then we'll get towards the holidays, we'll go down. And people are going, well, Stephen, it's slower. It feels slower right now. And this happens every year. People go, what's going on, Stephen? Something's going on. Something's changing in the market. Yeah, it's called fall. And I told you for some of those areas, it's called summer. It's going to feel even slower in the markets of LA and San Bernardino when you get a rising inventory with demand dropping at the same time. That kind of like pushes the expected market time up higher because there's more competition and fewer buyers. It's not where it's, oh my gosh, it's going to be really negative. And we'll get into that in a second because we're coming from such hot markets. It's just slightly cooling. It's like this inferno when we're throwing a tiny pail of water on it. But demand is dropping. And why is that happening? Supply is dropping. Where is the supply dropping? Let's talk about that first. Orange County down 1% or down 39 listings in the last 2-week period. The reason it's only down 39 is because we put on an extra 20% more homes in the last 4-week period. That's ridiculous. So it only allowed it to come down 1%. So there are more people coming on the market right now than normal. It's being eaten up by a hot demand though. Riverside County is down 12 listings, still down. San Diego County down 21 listings. I forgot to put the down. So it's down 21 listings, down 0.5%. So those are the ones that are down, so not heavily down. And San Bernardino is like up 2 or something like that. So I couldn't put that on where supply dropping. It was very close. Demand dropping. Where's it dropping? In Orange County, down 2.5%, shed 84 pending sales. In LA County, down 2.2%, shed 223 pending sales. In, wrong order. I don't know why I did it. Riverside County, down 4%, down 154. San Bernardino, down 4.5%, down 138. San Diego County, down 2%, down 78. You can see definitely shedding demand at this point. The inventory is doing all different things in all the different areas, and that just depends upon how many people are enticed to list their home because it's so hot and they're worried about what's going to happen in 2021 and this wave of foreclosures. So anyways, we got supply and demand. Supply really, really low, demand really, really high. Even with demand dropping a little bit, it's still super low supply. It favors sellers. It's still hot. Home values on the rise. And it's being fueled by none other than the most incredible fuel, extremely low historical record interest rates. And not last week, but the week before, we hit our 9th record. It hit at 2.86%. This is last Thursday, it went up 2.87%. So 2.87% was the national average across the United States that backs 49 years. That's a 9th record low. That's low. So just get that we're at these ultra low levels in the 2s, and it's fueling a lot of demand. And the Southern California expected market time, you can see at the very, very right, oops, I don't know why I did that. It's very, very right-hand side. You can see how it's kind of like going like this. There's this little U-turn. So it's starting to turn, and it's starting to slow. And it's slow, methodical. Doesn't matter, draw a line across, and it's still the hottest levels. August and September, lowest levels since I've tracked all of Southern California back in 2012. You can see that's how hot it is. During the expansion time period from 2012 through today, it is the hottest level right now for all of Southern California. And it gives you an idea of just how extremely sizzling hot sellers market it currently is right now. The expected market time, here we are. Last Thursday, we're at 37 days. It went up 1 day. So you can see it kind of is slowly but surely going up. It's gone up from like 35.5 days to 37 days in the last like 4-week period. So not anything huge. But last year, 82 days. That's the difference between this year and last year. And April 16th, just so that you remember, back in the midst of the pandemic lockdown, 109 days expected market time for all of Southern California. Orange County got above 120 days. And that's the start of the buyer's market. Only happened for a minute. Then we had demand push up and it started dropping V-shaped like. So the expected market time has just absolutely dropped to these levels that we just haven't seen in an extremely long time. So that's how hot the market is today. And this is our 2020 best, happened in the middle of August. And where are we headed from here? We're going to go slightly up, and then it will go up. It will slow down further once we get into the holidays. That's the holidays. Things should slow down a little bit further, but pretty much for all of Southern California and the rest of the year, we will remain under a 60-day expected market time. That is what I call a hot seller's market. A seller's market is anywhere below 90. Do you see 90? That's even the purple at the end of the year was below 90. That was last year. So last year, we were in a slight seller's market at the end of the year last year. And the market actually got better in many counties in November because the market just kept on getting better and better as interest rates dropped. So LA is at a 48-day expected market time. They were up 3 days in a 2-week period. Orange County is at 39 days, up 1 day. Riverside County, 31 days, up 1 day. San Bernardino County, 26 days, up 1 day. San Diego County, 33 days, up 1. I'm telling you that Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and San Diego, anything in the 30s feels extremely, extremely hot, even though it's slowly slowing down. That's just you noticing, I smell a little autumn in the air, but it doesn't feel like real autumn. It's still warm during the day. It doesn't feel like those semi like 72-degree weather days, and it gets down to like chilly at night. That's the autumn that we know here in California. So market overview, I need to talk about luxury because I did that report on it 2 back where it was that surge. It was a surge in the luxury. It's an unexpected spike. This was that unexpected spike. We thought that luxury was going to take a while to come back online. It came back on a lot quicker. And then in following the numbers, it actually beat our expectations. And I'm pretty sure it beat everybody's expectations, which is why the median sales price across the country actually rose about 6% in the last year. And it probably about 1% in the month of July when they did it. Probably will be another 1% in August. It's going at a pretty fast clip right now. But if you looked at what the NAR came out with, it was up 11%. That's a sales mix. And the sales mix is this: luxury closed sales off the charts. Look at that. This is Southern California, record level right now. That is the highest level ever. That was the months of July and August. And then if you look, this is Southern California, July and August, and we've never even been here before. Nothing ever above 2,000, and we hit levels that at 2,688 back in August. That was up 55% year over year. July was at 2,348. That was up 30% year over year. June was at 1,648. It was down 5% year over year. May was at 921, down 51%. Still, for the year, we'll actually hit a record number of closed sales, even though we had that spring that was off. Because even April was 921, down 45%. So even though it's missing a whole bunch of sales, it was really only 2 months that affected April and May, and we are going to make up for that in just the sheer pace of luxury right now. Because I know what luxury demand looks like right now, and the two is off the charts. That's what I tracked in that I talked about the luxury closed sales, and I talked about where luxury demand is right now, which means going out for the next couple months, it's going to be extremely strong in luxury. And if you look at luxury, this is LA County, record level. If you look at Orange County, that was such a tiny, thin spike because it did well in July and then really skyrocketed in August. So it went all the way up there. That too is the highest level by far. And this is Riverside. They're at 650,000. I should couch. LA is at 1.5 million plus, top 10%. San Diego and Orange County is at 1.25 million plus. And Riverside and San Bernardino are at 650,000 plus. If you look at this, there you go. Riverside, record level. San Bernardino, record level. I mean, San Diego, look at that. Record level, 1.25 million plus. Highest level ever. So it's just off the charts. So that's all I have for you guys today. Reports on Housing, REPORTS. We'll answer some questions now. Reportsonhousing.com. You go there, hit subscribe, and it's $15 per month or $150 per year. It's all about bringing you the best material and information, as well as data and charts, as well as the dialogue, how I talk. I only pick one topic and then talk about the inventory, demand, and all that, and the luxury. It's really about setting those expectations so you can get the right price when you list, so that you can get the listing, so you can get the price reduction, so you can get the buyer off the fence. It's all about letting people know what's going on in the market so they can make the best decisions for their families and themselves. So you get a month free if you use a coupon code CHARTS. I do have a sample report section at the FAQ section as well. Go there on reports on housing. You'll get more information. I have that housing debrief on Fridays. It's my personal page, SoCal Steven. You do not have to be my friend in order to watch it. Friday at 3 p.m. And Facebook business page. We do have one at Reports on Housing. I actually put the Facebook Lives on my business page after it's done. Yeah, I get more views and everything else if I stick it on my personal page. That's why we opted to go that direction. It's just the algorithms with Facebook. And then I have a YouTube place where I store all of my my debriefs as well, reports on housing, and then I have. Let's go ahead and talk about Q&A. Any questions that you may have right now, I say we fire away and ask away. So let's see, I have the Q&A going right here. Do you still foresee a glut of foreclosures or desperate sellers next year due to COVID layoffs, cutbacks? Actually, at this point, I actually don't see a glut. No glut, no wave. It's still the same statistics. It's still, what people don't focus on is the number of people that are actually gainfully employed. All this demand, there are 130 million people that are employed, that are doing great. A lot of the unemployment affects that 16 to 24-year-old bracket, and they make up a big portion of it. If they only have a high school education, they make up a bigger portion of it. If you have a degree, it's a tiny little portion of any unemployment. So where do we see a lot of this happening? In rentals. So there could be a lot of shifting around when evictions occur again, but there is an appetite to move away from Wall Street to residential. So I actually think that there will be an appetite to buy these investment properties from people that are pulling their money out of the stock market into homes. And I know that that's happening. I've talked to lenders that down payments, part of what's fueling this luxury surge is people are pulling their money out of the equities and putting them into real estate. Part of their down payments comes directly from stocks. So that's another phenomenon. Could you please explain why COVID did not suppress the inventory? I understand why not for demand. It did not suppress. It suppressed the inventory. Absolutely did. There's this giant hole from March, April for sure. We were off for all of Southern California, off by 45% year over year in the number of homes placed on the market. And it continued in May and in June. It still affected it in May and June. By the time I got to June, demand was already back. So that's why it felt a little bit of an imbalance, because it was totally affecting everybody. It took a lot longer because people, they were fine. A lot of buyers were ready to just go out and get out of the house and I'll go go into people's houses. But when it came to bringing COVID-19 into your own house, people were hesitant. So it took them a longer to get to the point where we're going, all right, we should really sell and take advantage of this hot market. It's definitely not an anomaly. It's going to be here for a while. That's why we moved towards that. So it took longer and there's a bigger hole. So there's not going to be any wave, because people said these people are all going to come on the market really quick. That is not what's happening in LA. I think people are enticed by how incredibly hot the market is. We'll continue to watch what happens, but that's not the story that we're seeing yet out there, because it's not too significant of a spike or anything like that. And we are seeing more people come on the market, like I said, in Orange County, but demand's so hot it's being eaten up. So COVID-19 is no longer suppressing it now. And that's because people are we're just so fatigued with COVID-19. We're ready to go on to normal again. And a lot of people want to sell their homes and sell it and go move to someplace where they can have a better time quarantining. And that's one of those things we ask them, could you see yourself quarantining? It's kind of funny. It's kind of not, because we've really learned how important our home is. And I had moved into my house in October of 2019, and I'm so glad I did. That's why I told them, we have a pocket park across the street, and we just have more amenities where we currently are in Ladera Ranch, and we just got lucky with timing. So do I have a forecast for next year? Funny you should ask that, because the next one, I'm going to do my forecast for this particular meeting. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be like 4 weeks from now. We will do that forecast. So that's a great teaser. I wonder who, that was awesome. I don't remember seeing, who was it that stated that? That was really smart. Let's see, and there's copies of the slides. You'll get that as well. If you have a forecast for next year, who was that? Mary? Yes, we will have that coming up. If you want to forecast in your individual offices, have your office manager contact me, and we will definitely have you within, I will do it within offices. I'm reaching out right now. I just came up with a list of all the managers I need to contact. It's a lengthy list. I'd rather have the managers contact me, but maybe that's where we go. What was the last one? I didn't see it. I only saw, do you have a forecast for next year? That was it. I guess that's it. We have any other ones? Oh, I guess it was, there were some political slides on there. I'm not answering political questions. I will say the following, because people always ask this. Does the election affect real estate? It won't this year. Our market is way too hot. I can't find it going back to 2004 and all the data, and I have a lot of data. There was one study that was done across the United States, and it went back to like the 40s or 50s, or whenever they had adequate data, and it took a while to get that data. And they were able to see a tiny little anomaly of a change in some years. I can't find it anywhere in Orange County's data. I can't. I looked, and CAR, they did something. They said they can't really see it in the data either. That it's very hard to see exactly what's pulling. You have to see what's happening in the marketplace to understand why the market data could change. And does that have to do with the election? And the answer in my research is absolutely not. So don't worry about it. I ran out of questions. You're not asking any more questions. So I say you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. It was Tuesday there for a second. Enjoy it. And we'll see you in another month, and talk to your office managers. Let's get into those offices and give you the scoop for 2021. I'll be doing it here too if you're a part of a small office or you're on your own. This is what it's all about. We're getting you the best information out there. So thank you very much. Slides will be available. It will come, they will send you out an email. That's how they've been doing it. And so I will save this. I'll get it to them later today, because my kid is going to have a swim lesson right now, and I like to watch him do his swim lesson. That's part of this COVID-19 stay-at-home thing that you're able to do. And Zooming. I'm done with my Zoom. I'm going to go watch my kid. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. We'll see you later on. Have a good one.